This is awesome.
Oh, Clark, hey. Good to see you among the living, man. Check it out. It's the latest talent mix.
Thanks, Pete.
Good to see you all among the living. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Talon Mix. It is the #1 Smallville recap podcast for people who have never seen the television show Smallville. I am one of your hosts, Brian, here as always with my pal, my colleague, Zach. What's up, man?
Hey. Is that a someone's catchphrase? Hey. Can I make that mine?
Is.
That's
Who's
Fat Albert.
Oh. Yikes.
Wait, so Cosby's canceled. Is Fat Albert canceled? Probably also. He's called Fat Albert.
It is. Yeah, I'm gonna put Fat Albert in like a gray area of like I'm sure there are people with a lot of like affection for Fat Albert who grew up with it.
Right.
But I don't expect any new Fat Albert content to be coming out anytime soon. I think maybe that one's been laid to rest.
Didn't they try with Keenan?
There was a Kenan Thompson film. I have never seen it. I do know Bill Cosby's in it for at least a moment. He was in the trailer. That's the extent I've seen of Fat Albert is the trailer, and I only remember Bill Cosby and Kenan in
what's
fat suit.
Great podcast content is lead with your Cosby content. Like
It's
lead
gotta
with
get
all
the
of
Cosby
your
content out of the way. Here's the thing: I know a lot about the Cosby Show, and you just got to get it all out of the way.
That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is, of course, actually, it's not a Fat Albert or the Cosby Show recap podcast. It's a Smallville recap podcast. Today, we are recapping the 15th episode of Season 3, Resurrection, an episode that I half watched while cleaning today. I had a big cleaning project, so some of this might be new to me. I definitely had it happen in front of my eyeballs. I'll say that.
I half watched it while doing literally nothing else. That's how good of an episode it was.
Oh, good.
I was looking right at the screen and half watching it. You know what I mean?
I feel like bad episodes are either really good episodes for us or really rough ones. So
we'll see how it goes.
Before we get into it, let's make sure we get some really good stuff out in the in the what we've been watching segment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Zach, what have you been watching this week?
Well, look, Brian, no secrets here between us and our listeners.
No, of course not.
We attempted to do a version of this podcast on Sunday, but we had technical difficulties.
Right.
The part that we did do was a long conversation about the new TV show Rings of Power.
Yes.
And I would like to do a truncated version of that conversation right now because I think it's worth. I want to hear your thoughts on it again. I want the listeners to hear your thoughts on it.
I was really looking forward to it. I enjoy Tolkien. I Lord of the Ring. I recently got in the past year the Andy Serkis audiobooks, and I reread them because of those, and I thought those were wonderful. I haven't read the Silmarillion, but I've listened to several metal albums inspired by it. And man, I really, really hated it. I really, really hated it.
And you watched both.
I did watch both episodes. You only watched one. How did you feel about it?
Yes.
I'm asking, but I know because we talked about this.
Right. Well, I didn't hate it because I didn't have any expectation of it being great or good, but I didn't like it enough to keep watching. Like the first 15 minutes, I was into it when Galadriel is it Galadriel?
Yes.
When she's searching up in the ice area for the bad guy. But everything after that, I had no idea what was going on. I didn't care what was going on. It looked good.
It looks good.
Like the effects wise, clearly they spent a lot of money on it.
Right.
$500 million to be exact.
I believe that's for 5 seasons, but
is it? Okay.
Yes. Which I will not be watching another episode of because it was generally, like I said, I am a Tolkien fan. I love the books. I love the movies. And I even like quote unquote the Hobbit movies of like, they're not good. They are not good movies, but like every one that I saw, it was a fun excuse to like hang out in that world for me. And this just did. I'm realizing I don't like that style of television, that sort of what feels like a 5-10 hour movie that's just like the whole 2 episodes is not even the first act of a movie. It's just laborious. I really don't like it.
See, that is one of the problems with that format. I think that format can be fantastic, but you can't do the thing where
great. Yeah.
You can't do the thing where the first 2 episodes are nothing.
Right.
Especially if it's a new show, like, because I don't even have like the last season to the momentum to lead me into it. Like, if it's a long movie, you still need shit to happen at the beginning of that.
Why should I care about if I don't know anything about Lord of the Rings? And I do know things about Lord of the Rings. I didn't go on a lot of dates in high school. So, I need a reason to care about this. And there's no reason to care about this. Except unless you have an unhealthy obsession with an IP.
Yes.
Because that's what this is. It's IP.
Clearly does not describe anyone in America.
No, of course not.
We did last time, and we should make a quick disclaimer again that our dislike for the show has nothing to do with the fact that there are black elves. No.
Right.
If you are a person who is upset that there are people of color in your fantasy TV show, you need to ask yourself some hard questions.
You are not invited in our We Hate the Rings of Power like hot tub that we're chilling in. You have to go. So you have to leave the property to a different weird hot tub that I want. No. This is,
and you need to look, preferably a hot tub that has a mirror next to it where you can look in the mirror and ask yourself, why am I mad about this?
And is it because I'm a baby man?
Really? And be honest with yourself. Why are you mad about the black elves? Okay, that's all. That's all I'll say.
And are you? I'm gonna throw this out there. I know you're gonna say no, but are you something that rhymes with schmacist?
Again, you can be mad that the show's not good.
Which we are. That's what we are in our hot tub. Well, I guess I'm in the mad hot tub. You're in the hot tub, but our hot tubs are adjacent. And you're not invited in either of them.
I'm in the I don't care hot tub. I'm not. I guess I'm mad I spent the full 45 minutes watching it, or hour, or whatever it was.
Truly brutal.
Okay, so aside from that, I've been watching the 4th season of Stranger Things. I'm about a little over halfway done.
Nice.
You have to be the most cynical person in the world not to enjoy that fucking show.
I agree. I really completely agree.
Like, I get it if you don't think it's the greatest thing ever. I love it, but I get it. But to like really not like that show, you got to be really, because I know there is a wing out there of people that thinks it's empty nostalgia, and I don't think it is.
I don't think so either.
It has a lot of nostalgia, and it takes from a lot of different movies and remixes them. It's kind of a Quentin Tarantino homage thing.
And man, I just like those characters.
Right. It's very much its own thing with it's just characters that I love to watch interact. Yeah. It's almost the Smallville thing where I'm like, I don't even need the supernatural. Just give me those characters hanging out.
Right. Every time a new season of Stranger Things rolls around, I'm always kind of like, all right, time to get back into it. Like, I don't remember anything from the last season. And like, man, this season, especially, like the episodes are long. Like, oh, fuck, what am I in for? This is going to be it. And then I turn it on and I'm like, oh, right, this is a lot of fun.
Yes, exactly.
That happens every time.
I've enjoyed every season. And then when it comes on, I always wait a little while. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's because it's the Netflix thing where they release them all at once. And I like don't like binging shows.
Right.
I don't know.
I agree.
I'm trying to hold myself to like one a night.
And you know what? It just makes it last a little longer.
Right, stretch it out.
Which actually I expect we'll be seeing more. I don't know when Netflix will do it. Netflix has started dropping chunks of episodes. And that like 1 week they'll drop one chunk, the next week they'll drop another chunk. A lot of other streaming services have gone week to week because what they've learned, and I've worked for streaming services in the past, what they've all learned is that dropping them all at once is terrible for subscriber retention.
No shit.
Turns out if you can watch the whole thing you want to watch in a weekend, there's not a lot of reason to keep giving your service money.
Also, if you have a show that's week to week, you dominate the pop culture conversation for like a couple months.
Exactly.
Rather than 1 week.
Exactly.
And then no one talks about it the rest of the year.
And I gotta say, my wife and I enjoy having a show that we watch on a day, you know? It's not it doesn't just eat up a random weekend here and there. It's like, no, on Thursday nights we watch this, on Sunday we watch House of the Dragon. Like it's nice. Yeah. It's nice.
Absolutely. And it's nice to be able to like know that other people are watching it at the same time, kind of.
There's a community around that. And just speaking to weekly, like my wife and I are, we've talked about it on the show before. My wife and I are big fans of the Bachelor franchise. And like, don't get me wrong, I will defend the Bachelor franchise to my death. Is more than half of it, it's an excuse for us to sit on the couch and eat pasta? Yeah.
Yeah.
We hang out in our pajamas. Exactly. We make a big thing of pasta, and it's what we do on Mondays. That's more than half of it.
Perfect. Yeah.
And we make fun of the pretty people. Like there's something to a weekly ritual, and television can be a very nice part of that.
Right.
But not when it all just dumps at once.
Yeah. Yeah. Other than that, I saw Jaws in IMAX.
Perfect movie.
I don't know if you've heard of Jaws. Really good movie.
Perfect movie.
We could talk. I'm sure we have talked about Jaws being really good. We could for probably about an hour and a half. I won't get into it, but it's good. It holds up. And then a local theater was showing, they're doing a whole Stephen King thing because his birthday is coming up. And I saw Misery. Have you seen Misery?
I've never seen Misery.
Oh, it's a fun one.
I know it's on, I was just watching a like Shudder docuseries on like moments in horror, and a Misery thing came up. Like, fuck, I need to see Misery.
Yes, it's solid. I mean, it's called Misery, but it's not misery to watch it. It's just like suspenseful fun.
Right.
The only bad thing was there was a couple directly in front of me, and this is one of those kind of older theaters, so it's barely on a slant. Like,
got it.
I can see their silhouettes in the screen, and the whole entire time they are whispering sweet nothings into each other's ear and giving each other like obnoxious, like little love pecks
during Misery.
Like very flirty. Yeah, they weren't even full on making out. They were just like they were in that early stage, I think, of we're just so happy and flirty, which is great. I love that for you. But can you pick a seat off to the side, maybe, so I can watch the fucking movie? Like, I say that with no jealousy or anger in my heart. I'm legitimately happy for you.
I get you.
I want to watch James Caan get tortured by Kathy Bates. That's why I came here.
I get you. Did you watch anything else this week?
I think it's just been Stranger Things and then Jaws and Misery, I think, are the main ones. How about you?
Zach, this past week I was in Los Angeles, which I live in New York, so that's a long plane ride. And one of my favorite, whenever I'm on a plane, what I love to do is watch movies I probably was never going to get around to otherwise. So I'm going to rapid fire through the movies I've been sitting there like, I'm probably not going to watch that until I'm contained in a metal tube that magically somehow makes all movies fine. You can watch the worst piece of shit on a plane and you'll be like, it was fine. You can watch
Casablanca. It was better than just sitting here.
It was better than looking out the window. You can also watch Casablanca on a plane and you would only think it was fine. It all averages out to fine.
Yes, because you're so uncomfortable in that seat. It doesn't matter how good the movie is.
Right. So I'm going to rapid fire through the movies that I watched on the plane, both to Los Angeles and back. I watched the film Morbius, the Marvel film in the Sony Spider-Verse. It was bad, but here's the thing. It wasn't that, like, everyone loved Doctor Strange and hated Morbius. They're the same. They're both fine, and I didn't like either.
I mean, everyone but you and me, apparently, because I couldn't even finish the new Doctor Strange. I know we don't need to go off on it again, but I could not finish it. Morbius looked awful in the trailer. I was shockingly bad.
It's bad. It's bad. Don't get me wrong. It's not good, but it's not that much worse than Doctor Strange.
I appreciated that they had a cameo in the trailer.
Right.
Which feels like cheating.
Right.
It feels like cheating to have your post-credit sequence in the trailer so that people think Michael Keaton is in the movie.
Michael Keaton is not. I will say the Michael Keaton's character of Vulture appears twice in the movie. Once the cameo that you basically saw in the trailer. He appears one other time in a second post-credit sequence. But he's in the full Vulture gear. So that is certainly, not Michael Keaton on set, and I cannot confirm this, Zach, but I'm pretty sure it's not Michael Keaton's voice either.
Oh, no.
I rewound it. I can't say for sure, but I don't think it is.
God, do you just love Michael Keaton? Could you imagine a person more detached from the fandom and comic book world, but who participates in it on such a regular basis?
So
I recently heard him say he hasn't seen a movie since one of his movies since the first Batman movie.
Amazing. So at the end of Morbius, we get a post-credit scene basically explaining that through multiversal rifts, Michael Keaton has left the Marvel Cinematic Universe and is now in the separate Sony Marvel Universe, Spider-Verse. To which he simply says, "Hope the food's better in this joint." That's my Michael Keaton impression.
Oh my gosh.
I have to assume at some point Michael Keaton said, don't explain this to me. Just whatever.
Oh, yeah,
just
absolutely. He's like, I don't care. Tell me what I'm supposed to say.
Right. And then give me
my
money.
Why do they even need to do that? If it's a multiverse, can't it just be a different version of that Michael Keaton character?
Could it be? Yeah. Could it be? Yeah. But they have to overcomplicate it as simply as much as possible.
Did you hear his reaction to the Batgirl? They asked him what he thought about Batgirl getting canned. Oh, it's a paraphrase, but he was basically like, I guess it was a good business decision. I don't know. Yeah.
What are you going to do?
The check cleared.
Yeah, right. So Morbius, not good. Do I want to see the bigger, foggier, more gothic, gayer Joel Schumacher version from the 90s? Yes, I do want to see that.
Yes.
Let's see. So I also watched Ghostbusters Afterlife, which has problems. I didn't like the third act when, just spoiler alert, all the Ghostbusters show up. But there was some kid adventure stuff. Jason Reitman is a good director. There's good stuff in the movie.
No, I think I remember telling you I thought that movie was unfairly.
I completely agree. I quite liked it.
I mean, I think we're on the exact same page with the ending. I thought everything up until the last 30 minutes or so.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed it. It was a good kid venture movie.
Yeah.
And it was weird to me that a lot of the criticism was this doesn't make sense, because Ghostbusters was never a kids movie and now it's a kids movie. But
none of that bothered
I thought
me.
it was no, it's different. First of all, that's good.
Right.
And secondly, it was about all the kids who loved Ghostbusters is that feeling of loving the Ghostbusters in the 80s or whatever. I don't know. I thought mostly it worked. And Paul Rudd, come on.
Yeah,
come on.
It was great. I wouldn't say, not great, but it was good. I liked it. I believe another one is happening. It did.
I will watch it.
Yeah, I'll watch it too. I would say I quite enjoyed it. But granted, I was on a plane.
And you know what? I bet the next one will be less connected to the old movies.
Right.
So
hey,
let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's see. I rewatched Halloween Kills. I had seen Halloween Kills before. You know what, man? That movie's dumb as rocks, but I can confirm I quite like it.
I did want to talk to you real quick about. I found out that apparently in the 80s, before they made Halloween 4, so this is after Halloween 3 came out,
Right.
which was not successful because they didn't have Michael Myers in it.
Right.
They were going to do a thing where it was like the Twilight, so it was a serial, like was self-contained, a different monster, a different bad guy in every movie.
Right.
And then that didn't do well, so they were going to go back to Michael Myers, and they had John Carpenter was interested in doing it. And so he got someone to write a script, not him, but he had input on it.
Yeah.
And I read the script. You got to read it, Brian.
I do have to read it.
Weird.
Interesting.
It's weird. But it does share a lot of thematic stuff and even plot points with Halloween Kills. And I truly wonder if that's part of where they got the inspiration for that.
Right. So Carpenter's involved with these new movies is the whole thing. He does have a producer credit, which he hasn't had on the last several. So yeah, I have to wonder. I also it really leans into the supernatural. The town's fear gives Michael power and keeps him alive. Interesting.
Yeah.
Ends comes out in October. I'm looking forward to it's the way. If it's good, great. If not, I love to put Halloween Resurrection on at a party. Busta Rhymes kicks Michael Myers through a fucking window. It's funny. Like there's no losing for me here.
No, even Halloween Kills, which I did not think was good. There's enough talent involved that it's better than half the Halloween movies. Right. I mean, it's and also probably better than maybe all but one of the Friday the 13th movie. Like I've never seen the first Friday the 13th, but I assume that one's good.
Right.
But I've seen other ones. They're not good.
No, it's half the fun. It's half the fun of like a slasher movie is like catching it halfway through, just watching the next kill set piece. And like Kills has a couple of funny, weird kill set pieces. I think it will, in the broad scheme of the Halloween lexicon, I think Kills will land squarely in the middle. You know,
right?
Again,
at least it's a swing. It's a swing,
right? Let's see, what else did I watch on the plane? This was not on the plane. However, my wife and I at a hotel watched What to Expect When You're Expecting from 2012, which was one of those like it was post He's Just Not That Into You doing very well, which was just.
That's the one I saw. I was like, did I see that movie? Sorry.
There was a lot of celebrities, and like, so they just like did it again with another book title. And my wife and I were in a hotel, and we're like, haha, we're expecting this will be funny. Like, we'll make fun of this while we watch it. Power went out 10 minutes into the movie, so God was like trying to tell us like, don't watch this movie. However,
Someone's looking out for you.
Power came back shortly after, and we defied God, gave him the finger, put it back on, and it's really bad. It's a lot of talented like actors. Like the cast is like stacked, so it's not unwatchably bad. It's sort of like that benign thing that like sinks into your brain of like, oh, it's passes time, and it's a moment where you realize like, oh, this is deeply fucking stupid.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Next on the plane, I watched Jurassic World Dominion, which everyone really fucking hated. I didn't like it. I'm not saying here Jurassic World Dominion was a good movie. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is it's no worse than any of the other Jurassic World movies, I think.
I agree with you. I'm on the record as not being a fan of the World trilogy.
I'll throw this out there. I do think it's better than Rise of Skywalker.
I mean, it's comparable. I mean, they're very similar kind of movies in their
you're right.
nature. The one thing that Jurassic World Dominion has that the Rise of Skywalker doesn't is Jeff fucking Goldblum. So,
right. Actually, why isn't Jeff Goldblum in Star Wars? Just put him in Star Wars. Say we put him in
He should be.
And just Jeff Goldblum as himself. Like we put him in a rocket ship, sent him back in time to a galaxy far, far away.
Like,
and he's just here.
Oh, how interesting. I don't think I thought it was good, but I appreciated the batshit craziness of like when they're in that black market dinosaur
Yeah, I kind of liked it.
underground.
I kind of liked it.
I'm like, it's weird. Like they
Yeah.
were doing some weird shit in that movie, and that's okay.
Weird. They were kind of like, there was a stretch where they were kind of doing like an Indiana Jonesian thing, and I wasn't
Yes.
like, I was like, this isn't Jurassic Park, but like I kind of like whatever this is in
Right.
theory, on
Yeah.
paper, in theory.
I
Maybe
thought
not
most
as
of it was watchable until the last half hour, and then I was like, oh, this is pretty unwatchable.
I definitely mostly checked out by that last half hour.
Yeah.
I would probably hate it more if I paid more attention, you know?
And we were talking on the phone, and I was like, or texting on the phone, and you were basically saying none of the Jurassic Park, other than the original, are very good, and
Right.
I think that's mostly true, except for The Lost World it's not a bad movie; it's Spielberg bad.
I agree.
So like 3.5 stars out of
right.
5.
Right. I agree. It's still like it. I lumped it all in like rather than one because like Jurassic Park is a 5-star movie.
It's a masterpiece.
So,
it's a great movie.
Down to 3.5, it averages in with the bad ones, you know.
Yeah,
it's not like watch 1 and 2. It's watch 1. 2's fine if you want.
right. Yes, 2. Yes, if 2's on, you'll enjoy it on
Right.
TV. Like it's like a good cable.
Exactly.
Catch it on TV. Yeah.
Jurassic Park is a must see.
Yes.
Jurassic Park 2, it ain't gonna hurt you.
No.
Okay, we're hitting the tail end here. I watched Uncharted, the 2022 film based on the video game series Uncharted, and I didn't hate it. Its big offense was mostly that it was kind of bland and boring. So you don't play a lot of video games, right, Zach?
No, I have played Uncharted, one
Okay.
of them before, a decent amount, not the whole game, but enough to understand the idea.
And it's
Indiana Jones-ish.
It's the video game, and most of the appeal is like, you're Indiana Jones. Look at you solving those puzzles and climbing those things. Look at you.
Right.
So then to adapt that back into just a bad Indiana Jones movie, it's like I like an adventure, so like it passed the time for me fine. And there's a third act set piece where it's 2 pirate ships being hauled out by helicopters, and they're fighting between them. And it wasn't a good set piece, but it's like, man, I'd like to see a good set piece on that with that setup. And there's a lot of that in the movie. Of like, there's a lot of scenes like that. Like, I'd love to see a good version of that.
Not to turn this over to Mission Impossible, but and I think we said this back when the trailer of Uncharted came out. There was like, it looks like there's a big set piece in a plane.
Yep.
Where he's like hanging from a car, from a plane, all this stuff. And it's all clearly CGI, and that shit's not going to cut it when Tom Cruise is out there actually doing those things.
I saw Tom Cruise hang off a plane for real.
Yes, they just strapped him to the side of the plane and
then they flew the plane. So I don't really want to see fucking Spider-Man dressed like fucking Mario.
No, clearly in a video game. No. Also, what is the point of making a video game into a movie if it just looks like a video game?
I know.
It's just the video game cutscenes.
It's just the video game cutscenes, but I'll say it's Mark Wahlberg just there for a paycheck, so there's none of the fun chemistry that's actually in the video game. The video game voice actors have a fun adventure movie chemistry that is not in the movie. Mark Wahlberg. My understanding is, Mark Wahlberg plays Sully, who is Nathan Drake's like older friend / maybe kind of mentor. Now the Uncharted movie's been in the work. It's a funny casting because he doesn't look anything like the guy, and like it's a little weird. The rumor is because Uncharted has been in the works for a very long time. David O. Russell was attached to it at one point.
Yeah, and Mark Wahlberg was going to be the main guy.
Was going to be Nathan Drake. My understanding from this rumor is that Mark Wahlberg was getting paid for being attached to this thing, no matter fucking what.
Oh.
So now that he's aged out of Nathan Drake, you're Sully now.
Funny. Oh, that's great. That makes sense. I mean, that's honestly seems like the only explanation for why he's in that movie.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know that that's the case, but that is a rumor that I read. And I do not remember the source.
Has there ever been a really good video game movie? I mean, obviously the answer is no, there hasn't been a really good one, but like, what's the best one? Like,
yeah,
Mortal Kombat 96 is watchable, fun.
I think our friend Neil, who we went to school with, complimented Sonic the Hedgehog as he didn't listen to a podcast when he took his daughters to it.
I haven't seen Sonic. Okay.
I would say my wife and I saw it on Valentine's Day as a bit and got real drunk during it. I'll say we had a fun time at the movies seeing Sonic. I don't remember a lot of it.
But that's a bummer if that's the best.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I feel like there might be something that's...
There are people who like those Resident Evil movies.
Oh my god, my dad. I have seen I've seen a large number of the Resident Evil films. My dad does not know that I haven't liked a single one.
But they don't seem like they have much to do with the game.
No, virtually nothing.
No.
God, I feel like there was something, man, that was pretty okay, and I don't remember what the fuck it is.
Maybe a TV show. Have there been good TV shows? I know that the Last of Us is coming from some talented people, so fingers crossed on that.
Right. My wife kind of liked Halo. I didn't watch it, and she like gave a begrudging. Yeah. She gave a begrudging, like it was fun. Which
it looked great.
Right. Halo.
Like the visuals looked good.
It's so funny how something like Halo comes along of just Paramount going, or whoever put that out, going, The Mandalorian is big. We need a guy in a helmet. Guys in helmets are hot right now.
They were like, this was the biggest thing on the planet for a few years. It's like, let's wait till 20 years later to put this out.
Right.
Let's not do this at the height of its popularity. Do people give a shit about Halo anymore? Like the game? Is that a thing?
I don't actually know. I wasn't an Xbox kid, so I actually don't know.
Yeah, me neither.
But man, I guess that's it. Should I just Google video? I'm going to Google video game movies. Let's. This episode of Smallville is really boring.
Yeah, trust us. It's gonna be a 20-minute Smallville recap.
We're just gonna read context lists through the. Let's see some video game movies here. We've got Uncharted, Mortal Kombat that came out in 2021. That was awful. Sonic the Hedgehog, Warcraft. The
Mortal Kombat that came out during the lockdown or pandemic, whatever. The one of the first HBO Max ones.
Yes,
that was bad.
That was bad,
and that was going to be out in theaters. Thank God I didn't pay money for that.
Detective Pikachu was okay. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, Ryan Reynolds. I haven't seen it, but
it's not. Okay. It's not like, oh, you got to see Detective Pikachu. But like, I saw it in the theaters. It was better than a movie called Detective Pikachu had any right to be.
The trend seems to be like Sonic the Hedgehog, Detective Pikachu. The ones that work best are kind of the meta,
right?
Sillier ones.
Take a mascot that doesn't really have much of a personality on their own because they're just a boopity boop guy who moves from left to right. And then a boopity boop guy. Is that what the kids call video games these days? You've never played Pokemon, right?
No.
We got to play Pokemon on our stream at some point. You're going to like it. It's going to be fun.
I'm down.
And then my final plain movie was Dog, which I believe is Channing Tatum's directorial debut or co-directing debut. Buddy comedy, or not really, just a road comedy. Guy's getting a dog, his army buddy's dog, to his funeral. And it's good. I actually quite liked it. A solid 3 stars down the middle. Channing Tatum is a very charismatic beefcake who did some Dutch angles. I was proud of him. The camera moves quite a bit.
Dutch angles.
It's a better looking movie than the script would suggest. Like he tried in a way that's kind of cool.
I like dogs, so
Yeah.
maybe I'll check it out.
I think if you are sensitive to just some real gung-ho military stuff, I don't think it'll quite be up your alley. There is some more nuance to the story, but there are definitely some straw man hipsters who Channing Tatum is very mad dare criticize the military in any capacity, which might rub some people the wrong way.
I love a good straw man hipster.
There's some real eye rolly stuff, but the movie has some nuance. Yeah, I liked it. I think it's a solid rental. That's everything I watched on a plane.
All right. Great. Awesome.
Should we get into Smallville?
You abandoned reading the video games movie list.
It wasn't even a list. It was I was scrolling through it. It was like 10. It was a bunch of pictures on Google, and it was like 17 Resident Evils.
Street Fighter. Yeah.
That reminds me.
Oh, speaking of which.
Yeah.
Smallville's very own Lana Lang was in the sequel to Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun-Li, right?
Have I ever told you? This is not my story to tell. This is a guy I went to high school with, was a projectionist at a movie theater. And Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li was playing. And this was now I think, movie projection is just boop, hit a button, movie plays. Yeah. But back in our day, the movie would come on a truck in like 3 separate cases, and then you assembled it. Back in the day, back before my time, you had to actually be there and swap out the reels. But when I was working in a movie theater, you can kind of pre-assemble them in the machine, and it would run through the movie seamlessly. Okay. But he realized, so the movie ran all weekend, and he had realized later that he had put 2 of the 3 reels in the wrong order.
And no one fucking
noticed. The
noticed.
movie played all weekend. And no one fucking noticed that the movie didn't make any sense and was out of order.
Maybe that's the way to watch it.
Maybe it
made more sense.
Not one person stepped out and went, yo, that movie didn't make no sense.
They were like, God, the critics were right. That sucked.
Which, granted, probably more means not a lot of people went and saw Street Fighter The Legend of Chun-Li, which I think was the case.
Yeah.
I got one more video game movie thing while I'm thinking about it. My wife, for her latest birthday, my wife is a crazy person. You've heard her on this show. She wanted to do one thing on her birthday. This was the only thing she wanted to do on her birthday. She wanted to double feature House of Gucci and Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City.
What a double feature.
House of Gucci.
I still haven't seen House of Gucci yet.
It's fun. I would have said I think I liked it more out of like stepping out of it than like it hasn't left that much of a lasting impression on me. And if you were like, hey, you want to watch House of Gucci? I'm like, no, it's long. But I definitely enjoyed it.
Okay.
I haven't seen Ridley's other film this year, The Last Duel.
I like that a lot, actually.
Well, so we each saw half of Ridley Scott's 2022 output or 2021 output. Smallville. Guys, we watched Resurrection. It's the 15th episode of the 3rd season of Smallville. It's the 59th episode overall. It aired February 25th, 2004. I know that, of course, because I'm reading directly from the Smallville wiki at smallville.fandom.com. Join in, read along. Dr. Scanlon recommends triple bypass surgery to repair the arterial blockage in Jonathan's heart. Jonathan,
get a second opinion. Get a second opinion.
Don't trust a word. Smallville Medical says they don't have light bulbs. Jonathan is reluctant until Clark tells him how important he is to him. Clark is in the waiting room with a classmate, Garrett Davis. Garrett's brother, Vince, is suffering from serious liver failure. Clark is very worried about his father, but Garrett tries to encourage him until they hear a code blue for Vince's room. They rush down the hall and see Dr. McIntyre, who I don't think we've seen before, attempting to revive Vince, but he is not successful. One of the attendants quietly sends an email message as he notes the time of death on the chart. What was the message? Something like, the subject is ready for pickup?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was someone there sending the message. They just cut to a screen. I was confused about that.
And it was a little messy, but either way. Smallville.
Smallville Medical, where you can just wander back and watch the doctors try to resuscitate your brother.
It's so, yeah, the guy, they see him die. And Clark's like holding him back. Clark, take him out of the room. You can do that. And you should do that. That's what you should do.
Take your other best friend we didn't know you had out of the room. I think there's a Nietzsche line in there where Clark says that he always thought of his dad as a man of steel.
Nietzsche line,
which
baby.
Is such a cheating.
I know.
Is that a phrase without Superman?
Nope.
Man of Steel? Was that before Superman? Did we
Meaningless. Meaningless. I thought my dad was a metal man. A man of metal.
I thought he was made of metal.
Thought he was the fucking Tin Man, baby.
This is a serious question. Do they do open heart surgery in like small town medical centers?
Super no. He'd have to go. Also,
you'd have to go to Metropolis for that, right?
Also, like, Jonathan Kent is worried about the open heart surgery. He's a little concerned about it. So if only you had a super rich guy who loves to fly in specialists from Metropolis, you could probably get like the best of the best. I think they'd maybe try to lampshade that with like, hey, they want to get me in right away. But I don't know.
Yeah, like not only is it Smallville Medical, but they're like, yeah, we need to do this like tomorrow. Are you ready to have this open heart surgery tomorrow here in our dark, dank medical center?
We have flashlights, and we're pretty sure the batteries are still good. Ignore that kid dying in the next room.
Yeah.
Don't let that influence your decision, please. His liver is fucked.
Oh, man.
Okay. So maybe we let this kid watch his brother die on a table over there, but I promise this is a smooth operation here in Smallville Medical.
It seems like Smallville Medical, like the emergency room is the same, like the same area as every other reason you would go see the doctor.
Yep.
It's like just a checkup is in the same spot.
Accurate. Okay, Clark tells his mother that Garrett's parents died when he was little. Vince was his guardian, so Garrett will be sent to foster care until his uncle arrives from Germany in a few days. Martha Kent invites Garrett to stay with them instead. Meanwhile, Vince's body is urgently transported by helicopter back to Metropolis. It arrives at Leah Teng's lab. She immediately administers an injection to his chest, which revives him. Vince looks familiar, the actor. Who is this man?
I don't know, but I felt the same way. I was like, he looks familiar. What is he from?
I'm sure I'm going to open up his Smallville wiki thing. I'm sure some other things are listed. If my internet will agree with me, which right now it's not.
My gut tells me it's like sci-fi show, low budget sci-fi show.
It's definitely that fucking vibe. His name is Tomo Pennicott.
Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles. I don't know. I'm like throwing out.
My internet is aggressively not agreeing with me, which is an ongoing problem, and so I guess we'll never know.
I will look it up whilst you talk.
Great. Garrett and Clark are talking about Vince when Martha comes in to tell Garrett the crematorium has called, asking where they should send Vince's ashes.
I love that the fucking crematorium leaves a message with Mama K. Like,
yep, that's how that works.
Like, hey, do you want to talk to him? No, just tell him we need to know where to send these fucking things.
Do you want to talk to? Go, God, no. Too sad.
No.
Okay, Garrett is confused, and Clark takes him to sort it out. Garrett knows that Vince wanted to be buried next to his parents. Did this 20-something have that fucking plan? Though I guess he's been dying for a little while, and maybe...
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
All right, we'll let that one slide. But he is given a file with Vince's signature on the cremation form, but he believes it was forged.
Oh man, we need to talk about this this room.
What about it?
I know we talk about how dimly lit things are too often, but of all the rooms to be dimly lit, you think the room where they perform autopsies, lighting would be important.
I'd put a significant part of the admittedly meager light bulb budget. I'd put that in that room.
Oh gosh.
Who is the mayor of Smallville? Surely they are like in charge of this. I guess unless it's a for-profit hospital.
He was on Dollhouse. I never watched that.
I did watch Dollhouse.
Let's see here. Hold on. He was on Battlestar Galactica.
No, I probably know him from... Oh, right. I think he was an agent on Dollhouse who was kind of trying to like expose the dollhouse or something.
Oh, I know where he's from. Fuck. This is where I know him from. The 2007 little scene cult classic Halloween movie, Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat.
Oh, right. I
He's
like
at the
that movie
beginning
a
of
lot.
the movie.
Right.
He's at the beginning.
You are correct.
Yeah.
So we're basically right. Small sci-fi shows and a bit part in a movie.
Yes, genre stuff.
Yes.
Hunky guy in genre stuff.
Right. Okay, at the mansion, Lex is on the phone with the North Korean embassy trying to find the departed Leah Tang. Chloe arrives to share what she has learned. 12 years ago, she married a man who worked security at Luthor Corp. Lex figured that his father arranged the marriage so that she could get a green card. Chloe found the guard. What was that?
We're missing a scene, right?
I don't know.
No, like I'm saying there was a deleted scene because if we jump in, Chloe
sure.
just walks in the room. They're working together on this. I don't remember that being a thing.
Very true.
Like, what did you find? It's like, what do you mean the doctor? When did we start talking about the fucking doctor? I don't know. Maybe I'm forgetting something last episode, but it feels like they cut a scene out.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. This episode's a mess, man. 12 years ago, she married a man who worked security at Luthor Corp. Lex figured that his father arranged the marriage so that she could get a green card. Chloe found the guard working at the old Metron Pharmaceuticals building, even though it has been shut down for the past 7 years. Chloe wants Lex to help her check it out, but Lex insists that she stay behind for her own safety. Clark and Garrett return to the Kent farm just before Vince arrives. Something up?
No, I'm just laughing at how there's nothing to say about any of this.
It's sometimes, like you hit these sometimes I've adjusted my screen now where like I've got you up on one half of my screen and the text on the other. But sometimes I'm flipping through the panels and like sometimes I'm like, shit, does Zach want to say something? Like I should go look. Yeah. Sometimes I hit the end of the paragraph and I just know we both got nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing interesting you can say about that.
There's just nothing to say.
It's weird. I mean, the wiki captures the tone perfectly when it's like, yeah, and then Vince shows up. Like,
yeah, right.
The guy has returned from the dead, and you're watching this scene, and the reaction is like, "Oh, I thought you were dead." It's not like earth-shattering. Like you'd think that would be like an act break, like this fucker comes back from the dead or something. It's a big moment, but they're just like,
"Thought you were dead and cremated."
Right? Yeah. They accept it real quick.
I I think so something's going to happen around halfway through this episode, and I think maybe they didn't have enough to fill there, and like that was meant to be more the crux of I won't spoil it for anybody, but it's a classic like medical soap plot.
Oh, it's also I think our 5th episode in a row that I believe was just taken from a recent movie, which is there was a movie called John Q. Which is, I remember being bad, but I think it came out the year before.
I think you're probably right.
This, like, the middle of the season, they're just like, what movies have you seen lately? Fucking Fast and the Furious.
What if we did an
old
John
Q? I saw that on TV the other day. Let's do that. John Q, Final Destination, great. Throw it in there. It's quite something. Sorry, keep going.
Thank God this is also like the first segment of this is also a movie podcast because it may as well
be. Yeah.
Okay. Clark and Garrett return to the Kent farm just before Vince arrives. He says that he woke up in a lab and now needs to fall beneath the radar. Before he can tell Clark where the lab is, he doubles over in pain, bleeding from his eyes. They take him to the hospital where Dr. McIntyre explains that Vince's liver is rapidly deteriorating. Garrett is distraught at the idea of losing his brother again.
People at the hospital don't seem to ask too many questions about
just
Smallville Medical.
I'm going to be real. At Smallville Medical, this is not the first time this has happened.
And it won't be the last.
No, it will not. I'm sure people have been pronounced dead and cremated and then shown up and the doctor's been like, oh, wow, weird. Well, hop on the table, baby.
It's like, you're going to pay, right?
Cool. Clark visits his father, who is preparing for surgery. He wants to stay with him, but he also wants to go to Metropolis to find the mysterious lab and maybe save Vince. Jonathan tells him to go to Metropolis, then reminds Martha of their promise to let Clark go when he's ready. Clark meets Lana in the...
I'm about ready. Yeah, go ahead. So I have something to say about this.
Clark meets Lana in the parking lot on his way out. He tells her about Vince Davis, and she tells him that Adam Knight had previously bled from his eyes in a similar fashion. He goes to see Chloe at the Torch. She is able to confirm that Metropolis General only received 2 organ donors yesterday, both female. So Clark goes in search of a helicopter pilot.
Because she has, quote, a source at Metropolis General.
Of course.
A
high school journal. For her high school news. I guess she did a column at the fucking Daily Planet.
That's true. Quick notes. The Torch has better lighting than the hospital. Just gonna throw that out there. Much better lighting. Lana shows up at the hospital to visit them while they're waiting on Johnny K. And she appears to bring a picnic. Like she's got like a picnic basket with, I don't know, croissants in it or something. I thought it was weird. It was like a weird, nice gesture.
Yeah, I guess that's, I mean, I can maybe get my head around that. I don't know.
I feel like they probably have croissants at the hospital.
You don't need to bring croissants. Something. We got croissants at the hospital. This hospital's like full of croissants. No light bulbs, but to get a croissant order.
She's at the talent. She's like, I got to throw these day-old croissants away. Oh, wait.
You know who loves croissants? The Kents.
The Kents, yep.
Okay, so Clark goes in search of the helicopter pilot, Ben Powell, who must have been paid off to deliver Vince's body somewhere else. After verbally threatening to report the body-stealing scam to the authorities, Ben reluctantly flies Clark to the location where he was paid to make the drop, which turns out...
That guy in the helicopter is one of the lone gunmen from the X-Files.
Wow. Yeah. I watched a lot of X-Files on TV on vacation, and man, good show.
I had a note. I'm not sure if we passed it or not, but Smallville Medical has a really high tolerance for taking shit from angsty teens who are just yelling at them. I noticed that. I mean, Clark does it all the time, and this kid does it like 6 times in this episode, just throwing a tantrum.
I feel like
Good
if you
for them.
raise your voice in a hospital, security guards are coming over and like, you gotta knock this off now.
For sure. Yes. But Smallville Medical, they're like, yeah, I mean, I'm not really a real doctor anyway, so
You're probably right. Yikes.
You're probably right. Yeah, it's fair. Fair.
So the drop point turns out to be Metron Pharmaceuticals. Clark uses his super hearing to overhear Lex inside the lab confronting Leah Tang about after entering the facility. And I'm going to stop here. The super hearing effect here, they have a real weird close in on Lex's mouth, on his lips as he's talking, and the rest is like blurred. It was a really I was cleaning and I looked over and went, just an active. Yeah. Zach, I am losing you for a second. I'm gonna keep reading.
Oh, are you?
And then hopefully you'll come back while I'm reading.
There you are.
Clark.
I'm back.
Okay,
I'm
good.
back. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay,
good.
Over here, Lex inside the lab confronting Leah Tang after entering the facility and discovering that she was not deported after all, but is instead performing research here for Lionel Luthor. Lex interrogates her about the vial of serum that he catches her working on, which he says looks identical to the serum used by Adam Knight, which contained blood platelets of unknown origin. Clark uses his super speed to steal the vial undetected, and I fully checked out from this episode.
Well, Brian, the speed with which I know he has super speed, but the speed with which he steals that vial, like normally we see like a whoosh, the vial's there, and then it's gone. If he is that fast, he shouldn't ever have any problems with anything.
Right.
Like with any of these situations, it's like you can figure it out for the most part. You can just get in there real quick and do whatever you got to do.
He moves exactly as fast as the plot requires.
Right, yes.
Especially if the episode is bad. Dr. Scanlon is just beginning Jonathan's surgery when Garrett shows up with a bomb strapped to his chest, demanding that...
Wait. We're missing just before that. Guess who shows up at the hospital?
I don't remember.
Pete shows up. He just shows up and it's like, they might as well have just had him say, hey, I need to be here for some exposition. Because he comes and he's like, hey, I figured I'd come spend this time with you. Oh, no, I'm a hostage. And he literally is only there to deliver one line of exposition because, as I'm sure they'll say in the wiki, Garrett is, for some reason, he has a kryptonite bomb on his chest. Mm-hmm. And if he wasn't there, because Jonathan is in surgery, no one would be there to talk to Martha Kent out loud about how, oh no, Clark can't do anything with this guy's kryptonite bomb. Like those are meteor rock.
I think I missed that.
That's the only reason he's there. I feel so bad for this actor at this point.
I know.
I really do. I really feel for him.
Really brutal.
I mean, he's cashing checks.
Right. He got paid. So Clark returns with the serum to find the medical center surrounded by deputies. He tells Sheriff Adams that he has the medicine that will cure Vince. Reluctantly, she allows Clark to talk to Garrett. Meanwhile, Pete explains to Martha that Garrett's bomb is the same type Vince used in his demolition business, laced with meteor rocks.
What possible improvement can that offer them in their demolition business?
It's like green ketchup. It's just fun. It's just for fun. Just for funsies.
Clark shows up. He shows up, and instead of super speeding in, he walks very slowly under the police like caution tape. And the sheriff's like, hey, you can't come back here. And he's like, Sheriff, my dad's in there getting surgery. And she's like, oh, okay. Come on in and talk to us then. That's fine, teenager. Let me tell you everything that's going on here.
That is the password, it turns out. And now I think you're my boss? You're my police boss. Okay. Garrett takes the call from Clark and agrees to trade most of the hostages for the vial of serum. Also, I understand it's a small town. Would the local sheriff be leading hostage negotiations? I guess it would take time for like the FBI to get in.
I don't know. I thought about that too. Yeah, I guess.
Clark is careful to keep his distance, but when the serum boils in Garrett's hand, Clark suspects that it is made from his blood. Dr. McIntyre injects Vince in the correct location, but it does not revive him. Garrett insists that he transplants Jonathan's liver into Vince. That was a very silly, but like it did catch my attention. The way the scene goes is like, you have a healthy kidney right here. That's my dad! And this kid doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's a liver.
Right.
And yeah, that kid is like, he goes from being like, I'm desperate, I'm trying to save, to like straight up villain. Like, fuck your dad.
Fuck, I believe at one point he's like, you still got a mom.
I like the doctor. He's like, sure, I'll inject this unknown substance into my patient's chest. He doesn't push back on it all. I know the guy has a bomb, but you'd think a doctor would be like,
I know.
I have an oath. I can't just inject whatever you're handing me into this guy.
There is a part of me, though, of like, that on some level, if like, guy has a bomb, put this into a dead guy. That's like, all right, I'll do it if you'll go away with the bomb.
I think the doctor would be like, no, I can't. But then he would just be like, hey, random person, you do it.
Yeah. Oh, gee, sure would be a shame if I put the vial over here, put my hands up, and definitely didn't touch it.
And then the vial doesn't work. So he's like, well, go take out this healthy guy's liver. And he's like, all right. What am I going to do? Say no?
Right.
Nah.
Man, I'm still thinking about now. I'm just going back to Batman Begins. It was like, I can't inject the vial in him, but I don't have to stop you from putting the vial in him.
Right, exactly, yes. I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you.
It's the same thing, Christian. It's the same thing. If you left him in the train, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, Clark is careful to keep his distance, but when the serum, blah, 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 I read that already. Dr. McIntyre injects Vince in the correct location, but it does not revive him. Garrett insists that he transplant Jonathan's liver into Vince. Dr. McIntyre tries to explain that there is almost no chance of success, but Garrett is too desperate to listen, and there are 20 other patients in the building. Sheriff Adams has ordered a sharpshooter to seek a vantage point and take Garrett out, which Smallville has access to, apparently. Just a guy with a sniper ready to go, just in case.
It's just a Farmer Bob. Yeah, it's just some guy with a sniper rifle.
When he shoots Garrett, his finger comes off the bomb's ignition switch. Clark runs to the radiology department. I feel like this would be, if he's... That's like the whole thing with the dropping the trigger thing, right? Is you can't just shoot me.
Right. Yeah, it's a bad decision to have them shoot him.
I saw Speed.
Since he's holding. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Most of what I know from police work comes from Speed. And I'm going to say that was a bad idea.
Everyone saw Speed. It was a big hit.
Great movie. Clark runs to the radiology department, grabs a lead apron, removes the bomb from Garrett's chest, and runs away from the medical center before it explodes. Woof.
It looks good.
It does
cool.
look okay. It's very clear to me, like, I think this bomb plot was supposed to be more of the meat of the episode, and it's an act. Yeah.
Have we had a string of decent episodes? Is that why this one feels extra bad, or is this just like a nothing?
I don't know.
I feel like we've been. Season 1 was rough. Luckily, no one was there to hear it, but the show was rough. In season 2 and 3, I think the quality has been on average higher.
Yeah.
This is a doldrums of season 1 episode for sure.
Agreed. And it's not like it wasn't like terrible while I was watching it, but like it's definitely like there's nothing. It's not bad enough to like make like Smallville goes like maximum silly. We have a lot to talk about,
right?
And that's not quite here. It's just this is dumb and bad.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, it gets tough when the answer just is because they wanted to go home. Because it was 6 o'clock and the writers wanted to go home.
Exactly. Let's get home by dinner.
Right. And they make 24 of these a year, and they're not all going to be winners.
No.
Meanwhile, back at Metron Pharmaceuticals, Leah Teng explains to Lex that Lionel ordered Adam Knight's role in the program terminated, meaning he is supposed to be cut off from receiving any further serum. But due to her ethics, she has been secretly supplying him with a small amount to keep him alive. However, it is in such short supply that she isn't able to give him as much as he needs either. She has him locked up, hidden away while he deteriorates. Lex asks her to reveal the source of the unique blood platelets in the serum, but Leah does not know. However, she does offer him information about the platelets, such as the fact that they have an astonishing ability to revive necrotic tissue. So, I guess it makes... I mean, so Superman's blood can just bring people back to life? If it's processed the right way? Man, we'll really like abandon this. This is life-changing. This is amazing.
Well, Clark even says to Johnny K at the end of the episode, he's like, well, if my blood can save people, maybe I should present myself to the world. I wasn't paying attention by that point. And Johnny K's like, nah, I need someone to run the farm.
Like, you don't understand. I cannot hire anybody. We make no money.
I cannot afford
This is a one-man operation. Let us be clear. Okay, before Lex leaves Metron, Leah tells him that he is her only chance to get out from under his father's grip. Lex returns to the Talon to find Lana attempting to scrub away the memory of Adam from the apartment. She is obviously upset, and he offers to talk with her about it if she ever wants to, but he chooses not to reveal to her that he just found out where Adam disappeared to. Instead, he just claims that he's still trying to determine Adam's whereabouts so he can make sure that Adam never harasses Lana again. Yes.
You were checked out. Were you paying enough attention to see the really creepy thing that happened in this scene? Oh, Brian. Lana has, I don't know if it's a bruise or if it's some kind of blemish on her cheek. And Lex touches her chin, lifts up her face, and then wipes at the blemish with some kind of handkerchief or something. It's like a very tender chin touch.
Yeah, we're planting some seeds there.
Don't do it, Lex.
Still in high school. This is called grooming. This is the literal definition of that word. Sometimes it gets used liberally, but this is actually what that is.
Oh, we need to have that jingle on your soundboard, and you just press that.
That was original. It's copyrighted.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Oh, goodness. Oh, shit.
Instead, he just claims that he's still trying to determine Adam's whereabouts, blah, 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 blah. Clark is helping his father leave the hospital when he tells him that the serum that revived Vince was made from his blood. Clark suggests that if his blood can help people, maybe he should come forward. But Jonathan's got a farm to run.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. We got was our featured music. We have Infatuation by The Rapture, and then the radio edit of Everything by Alanis Morissette. Big get.
That was played during the final scene with Lana and Clark.
Right.
Wherein Clark is like, hey, you can tell me anything. And she's like, that goes both ways, motherfucker. And I was like, good for you, Lana.
Good for you, Lana. Hey, with the title, A Resurrection is bringing somebody back from the dead.
Oh, fuck. That makes sense.
That's why they called it that. That happened.
I didn't put it together.
That happened in the episode.
That's weird.
That's so funny. That happened in this episode. Wow. That
What
must be why they came up with the title. Lionel Luther does not appear in this episode, which gives it an automatic, immediate fail. Thumbs down.
Yes. I mean, it explains a lot.
Oh boy, here we go. Oh, are you ready for this, Zach? The doctor's recommendation of a bypass for Jonathan's heart disease is questionable. Bypass is often the treatment for blockages in cardiac blood vessels caused by high cholesterol and saturated fats in the diet. Jonathan's heart disease is the result of physical stress, which, under normal circumstances, is good for the heart.
Oh, great. Yes, so Smallville Medical. Of course.
Just Smallville Medical.
Get a second opinion. I said get a second opinion. Did I not say get a second opinion?
One of the first things, Smallville Medical, it turns out, for concussions is like, we got to go into the heart. That's where everything is.
I got a concussion. We need to do a bypass. We need to do a triple bypass.
Listen, man, it's the one thing I know how to do. Don't take this from me. I need this. It's the only chapter I paid attention to in medical school. It's the only thing I know. So let's just try it. What's the harm? Let's just try it.
There's got to be some audit of Smallville Medical. They're like, you perform a lot of bypasses.
Yeah, no, I like them. I just like them. I just think they're fun.
This episode sucks because we didn't get any tally marks this episode.
We had a Nietzsche line, but I guess we don't keep hard track of those. This is kind of a bottle episode, isn't it? Aside from we have a guest star this week.
I mean, it's a lot of Smallville Medical.
And there isn't a huge action scene. There's just the run. That's the big money shot this episode. Let's see. Leah Tang tells Lex that the liver is the most resilient organ in the body. This is true, according to the Smallville Wiki.
Okay. So the person who doesn't work at Smallville Medical, that doctor knows what she's talking about. The underground basement sketch doctor knows more than the Smallville Medical people. That's cool.
Here's something interesting. The wiki will apparently refer to slow motion as Clark time. I'm a big fan of that. I like that. This is the first episode to feature, and I quote, Zach, Clark time, with the fluid-looking aura that Clark leaves behind himself while moving.
Because I was going to say they've done the slow-mo plenty of times. So the little squigglies.
Which is kind of like vaguely Matrix-y.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's not quite what the Matrix is, but it is like from a simple understanding.
Clark time. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's probably literally what they're doing there. Of like, it's not bullet time, it's Clark time.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tom Welling has a scar on his chin, which is quite visible in the scene with John Schneider looking up at him from the hospital bed. Let's see here. That seems like that's about it. Tamo Penniket, I'm sure I'm not pronouncing his name right, but the guy that we were trying to figure out what he was from, he will also appear as a different character. It appears in 2 other episodes, Nemesis and Prototype.
That's where I know him from. Oh my gosh, that's great. Yes, I know him because he's in 2 other episodes. And if I remember correctly, he's like a military guy that they thought died. He might come back from the dead in those ones too.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I love it.
Vancouver has a large casting
pool. Where do I know
right?
this guy? I know him from other Smallville episodes.
Do you think
as a different character?
when those like recasting things happen, do you think like on what level does that is an agent just like, yeah, you did Smallville before, but like don't fucking work, don't fucking say anything. Like that was like 3 years ago. Don't worry about it.
He's like, don't say I've been on this show before. Like
Right.
they won't remember.
Right.
I wonder. I mean, part of it is just like that was still the time of 24 a year. People watch one like I guess like they watch like 1 out of every 4 or something
Right.
like that.
Right. And like
back in the day.
I was still watching in season 6 when these episodes apparently were, and I didn't fucking notice, you know. Like I was watching those on DVD, just crushing them. So like it was definitely fine. But I'll know this time.
Yeah, we will. Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess that's everything. This has been the Talon Mix. It's a Smallville recap podcast, but you know that already, even though we talked way more about other movies. We talked about movies more than we talked about Smallville this week. But that's okay. It's a hangout podcast, you fucks. You fucks. Let's see. We're available wherever your podcasts are. We also usually stream live at twitch.tv/Goblin Voice on Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. EST. It's a lot of fun. No one there has ever seen Smallville, and it's okay if you haven't either. Zach, do you have a question for the Smallville gods?
Yeah, I want to know if there will be a reason while recapping this show for you to bust out your groomer song ever again.
Good night, everybody. Here's a song about groomers.